I'm Kate Klein with Lumina Learning USA, and I'm excited to begin this new series where we're going to be highlighting our practitioners over here in the USA. And so we're going to kick it off with Karen Colligan. So, Karen, if you'd like to give us just a brief background on who you are and your organization.
I'd love to. And thanks for having me. I'm so excited. And when you had asked me originally to do this, Kate, what I went back and thought, well, when did all this happen with us? And it started in March 2010 in Tampa, Florida. I was in the first Lumina Spark qualification. So that makes me very happy. So thanks for having me. Yeah.
I know. I can't believe it's been 10 years or 11 years now.
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah, so I'm Karen Colligan. My company name is PeopleThink, and I'm here in Manhattan, and that's a story we'll talk about in just a moment, how I ended up in Manhattan. What we do at PeopleThink is leadership and team development. And I've been doing it my whole life. And, you know, our signature program is called Keep It Real Leadership, and it's for new and advancing leaders who really haven't had any training yet. Like, it boggles my mind, Kate, that 47% of people who get put into leadership roles have never had any leadership training. Like, it makes me crazy. So I'm on this mission to help those new and advancing leaders. So that's what I do for a living. That's what I've been doing since 2000. And I started my company in San Francisco after coming out of high tech.
Wonderful. Thanks, Karen.
Yeah.
And I know you recently just moved to New York. Can you share anything interesting about that move?
Yeah. Well, only a complete lunatic would move in the middle of a pandemic, and voila, here I am. But I'm originally from Jersey. So, I mean, it makes sense. I've always wanted to live in Manhattan, and I ended up in Dallas, and I ended up in San Francisco for 30 years. And I started thinking to myself, during that pandemic, I think a lot of us questioned, like, what are we doing? Why are we here? And I thought to myself, do I have any regrets? And I started thinking about it, and I was writing in my journal. And finally I thought, well, the only regret I really truly have is that I've never lived in Manhattan. So I thought, oh, I can fix that. And it was crazy how everything was aligned. And once I put it out there, everything just fell into place. And I moved in November 2020. I sold my condo in less than a month, and I just celebrated my 1-year anniversary in Manhattan. And I love it. It's been an amazing transition. I love adventures, and this quite frankly has been a fabulous adventure. So that's how I ended up in Manhattan. Crazy.
I love it, Karen. I really admire your bravery. I think that's amazing.
Well, thank you.
So I know you talked a little bit about your area of expertise. Is there anything else you'd like to add to that?
Yeah. When I think about leadership development and I think about people development, I mean, the name of my company is PeopleThink. So obviously that's something that's always been near and dear to my heart, because I always think, Kate, people can be more than, if they just put some effort into it, if they just start to pay attention, if they do some assessment work about who am I, who do I want to be as I continue to grow up. And so that just, I can't help myself. It's where my heart lies. And when my heart lies somewhere, that's the work that I want to do.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice on leadership that you'd like to share with the community?
Yeah. So when I think about leadership, we all throw this word around: leadership this, leadership that. And everyone has a different definition of it. And oftentimes when I ask the question, give me your definition of leadership, people go like that. So my first piece of advice is, what is your definition of leadership? And we're all unique. And that's fine. In fact, that's just perfect. So really define who you are as a leader and what leadership means to you. So that's just critical. And then the second piece is, if I'm clear about who I am as a leader, then I need to be clear about what my values are and what I represent and what I stand for. Because if you understand your values, which are, what I believe are the guiding light of how we make decisions, then we're always going to make the right decision, maybe a hard decision. However, if we're really clear about our values, we're going to be okay. And then that third piece is, once I can define leadership, once I understand my values and I can articulate them, you know what, we have to assess ourselves. And this is one of the things about Lumina. I mean, we have to understand who we are at this point in time. And if I can assess myself and say, oh, Karen, you're great at this. And oh, you're not so great at this, Karen. Well, then I get to put a plan in place to really upskill myself. And with that, I am being a role model to the people I work with. Because if I'm bold enough to go, oh, I'm really good at this, and oh, I'm really not so good at this, you know what? It's about being vulnerable, and it's about learning, and it's stretching. And so I think it's really important for us to do that on a very, very regular basis. Keep a development plan in play.
That's great. Thank you, Karen.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice that you'd like to share with fellow practitioners?
Well, yeah. And this is, this is hard for me because, what I really believe is important is that we can't be everything to everyone. And so we have to really start thinking about who's our audience, who are we going to market to, who's our client base. And then we have to start thinking about how are we going to do that. So now I'm qualified. So I say, get focused. And then I'm going to tell you, I'm qualified in Spark, I'm qualified in Leader, I'm qualified in Motion, I'm qualified, let's just keep going. Sales, of course. However, I use Spark and Leader the most because I find that they really fit with each other and they're a building block. So I can continue to consult with my clients and say, what do you need? What's going on? I can create initiatives and I can pull in those other resources because I think it's important to have, a whole bucket of ideas to be able to go in and really be a consultative seller. So I'm not shoving something into, this is the way it is because it's the only thing I have. And what I'll tell you is with Lumina Spark and with Lumina Leader, I've been very, very grateful and lucky that it really has worked for my client base. And it would. I mean, think about, again, PeopleThink. What do I do? Leadership and team development. It's just an easy model for me. Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Karen. And then would you like to share any feedback around your experience working with Lumina Learning?
Yeah. There's all kinds of good things about Lumina Learning. And what I like to say about Lumina Learning is they're in the innovation business and I'm in the people development business. And so they're innovating for people development. So it's like a win-win everywhere. So I love that about Lumina Learning. And then from the US perspective, because that's really who I deal with, what I know is it's just this relentless quest to make sure that we understand and continue to be trained and, again, upskilled and what's new and what's coming and how can we use it. And for me, that's really, really important to be able to have those practitioner calls when we can get on and talk to each other and the practitioners and say, well, what do you do and how does that work and those types of things. And so I love that because I love to learn and I love to learn in a group, as one might expect. And then the other thing about the US from a customer service perspective is, I'm always looking like, okay, what's on I need new things. And so I'll go out and I'll explore. And then all of a sudden I'll email and go, well, this is what I found. What else is there? And to have the kind of response I get is really, really pretty phenomenal as a practitioner, because I'm out here really alone. And then I don't feel alone anymore. So that's a lot of words to say thank you. I mean, really, that's what I'm doing, is saying thank you. And I'm very, very grateful.
Oh, Karen, thank you. We're so grateful for you. It's just been amazing. You've been part of this organization for over 10 years. You've partnered alongside of us, and just to watch your business grow and all the amazing adventures you've gone on, even recently. Yes. It's been an honor to be a part of this journey with you. So thank you for your time today.